Okay, my friends. Hello, swivel heads. This is Greg Allison with Green Gregs. Things are getting really testy in the world right now. We're on the verge of war. We're on the verge of war with Venezuela and Poland.
Hey, my
Excuse me.
friends.
Hang on.
Hello, swivel heads.
Thought I had it muted. Turns out that uh, the Dutch just fired on Russian drones. Apparently, it looks like the Dutch just fired on Russian drones. The United States has apparently blockaded Venezuela and has interdicted a Russian ship that was trying to get to Venezuela. A blockade is an act of war, by the way. And everything's still going crazy with China and Korea. And we got a lot of craziness going on right here in the United States. So we're going to cover all this. Let me pull up my chat room here. And so just to let you know that it's off the walls. Sorry for the slow start here. We're going to go straight into the news articles without any delay. So here we go. Oh, yeah, this whole thing with a peace treaty apparently is apparently going nowhere. So here we are, my friends. Hope I got the right thing set up. There we go. There we go. So, and the reason this is nuke war news and that is because not only the Dutch opened fire on drones over air base, this is Vogel Air Base, or Vocal Air Base, excuse me, in the Netherlands, which has US B-61 nuclear gravity bombs there. So it's a case that we found that Russia is monitoring this base. They have been monitoring it quite a bit. And so there was discussion about firing on these drones in the past. And, I think they really should. When you get a drone incursion over one of your main nuclear bases, you shouldn't just let that go. Something should have been done much earlier. And it is time. It is time. And so Hayes in and New Days. So, we just can't let this kind of thing pass. All that said, uh, this is real serious. Nothing was recovered from these drones. Apparently, they got away. So maybe the big question is, how is it that NATO fighter jets can go after drones, fire at them, and not get them, not take them out? How does that happen? Are we that inept? Or are the Russian drones just that good? I just showed an article a few days ago where Ukraine was warning us that Russian drones are a lot more sophisticated than NATO's prepared for. Is this an indication of what that warning means? And if so, that's not good. That is not good by any shape. Anyway, just to give you a little impact here, here's Vocal Air Base in the Netherlands, and it's right here. So it's, well in the country. I mean, they've got to really fly in to get to this with their drones. And just to show you our nuclear weapons, the B-61 uh, gravity-fed nuclear bomb, which is, an aircraft-carried bomb. This is it, guys. So, kid you not. So it is a nuclear base, a nuclear air base where NATO, where United States keeps its B-61 gravity-fed nuclear bombs there. Uh, so yeah, there's a lot at risk here. And then we get, oh, come on, top top general, a French general, Fabien Mandon. He's come out and said that be prepared for War III and be prepared to lose your children. That's pretty stark, but that's really what world wars and wars are about. You're sending your youth, young men and women, to the combat, to battle. And you look what's been happening in Ukraine. It's been a meat grinder. Almost everybody getting sent over has just literally been run through a meat grinder. So this is not a pretty situation any way you shake it. And that's one of the travesties of war. A lot of, well, just a lot of civilians die too. But just the whole thing of sending such young men to combat. This is the way wars have been fought since time began. but it's really an awful thing. I mean, so he's really put it in perspective here, but he's trying to get the country mentally prepared for this. Now, back in the day when parents had 5, 6, 10 kids, and then lose one or two to war, and there was a time when, if you were like the only child, you'd be excluded. You wouldn't be sent to combat. You wouldn't be put in the military. But these days, families are typically just having one child. So they're liable to lose the entire descendancy. They'll have no one to replace them in wars like this because I don't see how they can do that and maintain a military today when so many couples only have one or two kids. This is a high cost to families, and proportionally, it hits them a lot harder when you've invested everything in one, maybe two children, and you lose one or two of them to a war, to combat. But then you could lose your whole country in modern warfare and nuclear warfare. There's nothing pretty about war any way you shake it, except the big rich fat cats make a lot of money no matter what, especially the bankers that loan money to both sides fighting. They always get paid. It's always part of the terms of war. There's that old adage, every war is a banker's war. And they are the ones that profit the most from it. So there's something to be said for that. But anyway, this just puts in perspective. And I think it's a good perspective to have for the cost. Now, you can't be overrun either. So, yeah, war for defense, I do believe in strong defense. But I'm not sure that's what's happening over there in Europe. I think everybody's lost their mind. There was a day back in the Cold War where you didn't really consider it was okay to poke a nation that had nuclear weapons and provoke them. And that's what we're doing today. And suddenly it's been this whole idea of mutually assured destruction. Everybody just kind of falling asleep. It's like the world's gone mad, in my humble opinion, that nuclear powers would be facing off against each other the way they are today. This is insane. It's immature and insane. We have found ourselves in a really sad spot. Now, let's just go on with this. I'll give more commentary on that in a little bit. But uh, I really think the United States has got too much at risk by being part of NATO. To be honest, I think we need to get the heck out. Uh, the warfare is not just a warfare of bullets. It starts before that. And right now, World War III is for the United States is an economic war because China and Russia, the entire BRICS hegemony of the countries, are trying to take down the U.S. dollar. And this article is asking, is the dollar dying soon? And they're talking about how its dominance is being questioned in Asia, the Middle East, and developing nations. And they're trying everything they can do to set up trade to go outside the dollar. And, gold and silver just hedged back up a little bit. It's still not quite where it was, but it seems to be back on the increase. So if buying gold makes sense to you as a way to preserve your wealth, you might want to think about it. The best, to me, when you find somebody that make a price guarantee like defythegrid.com here, where they tell you that if you find a better price, call them, they'll meet it or beat it. Nobody else does that. So you ought to consider this for buying bullion, the bars, the coins, the rounds, or again, these goldbacks or the silver notes. These are fungible type, small amounts of gold you can put in your wallet and carry around, like this, you know, uh, and you can, they're low enough amount of gold that you can actually barter, everyday items like bread and eggs. So if that makes sense to you, you might want to consider defythegrid.com. Use discount code GreenGregs and you get 1% off. And that's pretty generous considering the way they make their promise that they'll beat any of the deal, meet or beat any of the deal, is because they only operate on 3 to 4% margin. So you get 1% off of that, you're doing well. Anyway, all that said here. So Putin has come out and says, well, this peace plan could be the basis for peace in Ukraine. But according to this article, he's threatened further aggression. Of course, this is a Ukrainian article, and they're going to paint everything in that kind of light. and the Europeans are chafing about it, and Huffington Post, American media too, saying Putin's response to the peace plan. It shows why it's bad news for Ukraine is that Putin's not sure he's in on it because he really wants to push forward to the war because he thinks he can win. In fact, they're talking about winning in pretty short order. They think that they're just on the verge of making some major gains that's going to allow them to accelerate. So Russia shows no readiness for concessions and is laying the groundwork to reject the 28-point peace plan, according, again, that's another Ukrainian article, so it's got a certain amount of prejudice to it there. But the fact that Putin has been seen in his camos, and he's declaring that the special operation must be unconditionally achieved is an indicator there may be something to that. So we'll have to see if he will buy off on a peace plan. You got to remember, just from the Russian standpoint, I'm not saying you got to agree with it, but from the Russian standpoint, having no border between them and NATO essentially is an existential threat because it's just too easy to roll into Moscow. And had Hitler not delayed Operation Barbarossa, he probably would have finished the Soviet Union off. The Russians' memory of this is they lost millions of people in World War II, and they haven't recovered from that memory. To them, that was a great victory, and it really was prevailing over the Germans, but they did it by the skin of their teeth. And, if Hitler had been a little smarter, he would have won that. And he might have actually won World War II if he made at least 3 critical mistakes that probably cost him the war, and that was one of them. Any one of which, if he hadn't made, he might have prevailed. So this whole idea we have that we won because, that was just the way it was going to be. That's not it. War is war. Total war is total war. So Russia seems to think that they can take enough of Ukraine that they can feel more secure and not having as big an area where NATO could just run straight up to them. I don't know why NATO would want to do that, but with all the saber rattling today on the NATO side, you can't convince the Russians that they wouldn't want to do that. I don't think NATO's got the forces to do that kind of thing, but some people on the NATO side seem to think otherwise and are willing to poke the bear. And again, when you're in a world of nuclear weapons and you're posing an existential threat with a nation with the most nuclear weapons in the world, who's just developed the Sarbama Poseidon torpedo, nuclear torpedo, who's just developed the Brenzik nuclear cruise missile, who's just developed all these brand new hypersonic missile glide vehicles, nuclear guys. This is not something to play with. This isn't just something you can ignore. But yet NATO and countries just seem to suddenly forget this whole notion of mutually assured destruction and what it can mean for them. I don't know why. To me, that's madness. But, that's just me. Putin's peace plan is designed for Putin and no one else. Well, here's the thing. Putin probably isn't going to accept much less. He's just showing no sign of it. And quite frankly, I'm going to take a little bit of exception with that, in that what he's trying to take mostly is Donbass, and he ought to have it because it's this way. Donbass is that part of Ukraine where most of the people want to be in Russia. They're Russian speaking. They voted to go in Russia. And I think people should have the right of self-determination. We're fighting right now. The whole world's at risk over an area about the size of New Jersey. We're risking our future, getting our homeland turned into a cinder over a little piece of land that don't want to be taken by those that's trying to take it back. And I, quite frankly, do not support that. Now, that may make you mad, but I'm fine with that because I don't support risking the existence of the whole the whole planet over a piece of land that don't want to be in the country fighting for it. So I ain't got no problem with him taking the entirety of Donbass if it'll stop the war. If it won't stop the war, then I don't know. I think America needs to pull out anyway. I don't think we need to be in NATO. I think it's a European problem. And if Europe wants to continue to prosecute this because they're worried about it, let them do it. Let them have it. But I don't think the United States needs any role in this. If you disagree with me, put a 1 in the chat room, and I'm sure some of you will, and that's fine. We have freedom of speech here. But if you think the way I do, put a 2 in the chat room. I'd like to know what y'all think about it. I do get some disagreements. And a lot of people have been not watching my videos. I guess I'm making a lot of people mad. My channel seems to be absolutely dying lately. but I just got to put it out there what I think about it. And that's what I think. I don't know why we need to poke the bear and risk our homeland over a little piece of a country like Ukraine, who's fighting over land where the people don't want to be part of Ukraine in the first place. And all of Europe's in on that, and I think it's pure madness. But if Europe wants to prosecute that and go forward with it, let them have it. That's what I think. That's where I'm at on it. And if you want to disagree with them, that's fine. We have a free country. I believe in freedom of speech. But if you disagree, just do so respectfully, or my mods will take care of you. I do believe that you can voice your opinion, but if you don't agree, just say so, but be respectful. We don't have to get into all this. Some people cussing and all that stuff, because I'm not doing that. I'm just putting it out there that we are at risk of nuclear war over something that, in my humble opinion, as from America's standpoint, it's not worth it. We got no dog in this. It doesn't do us any good one way or the other. This peace plan that Trump negotiated with or tried to negotiate would be advantageous to us if it could go through, but it doesn't show much sign. And Russia isn't that interested in it, quite frankly, because they think they can take. This is why Putin is running around in his fatigues here instead of coming out in his business suit. Was he's making a show that he's not really so interested. Of course, this could be bluff. It could be bluff. Every side's bluffing, but at certain points, bluffing can turn into a deadly conflict. I didn't see any ones. Anyway, greed. There's always greed in this stuff. It's not worth it. There's always greed. And I really don't even think we ought to be negotiating a peace treaty. I think we need to just wipe our hands, get the heck out of Europe. I think we just need to leave it to them. I don't even think we should negotiate a peace treaty. We shouldn't be involved in it. We should just get the heck out. Say, hey, it's yours. We're out. That's what I think. That's where I stand. We just need to wipe our hands of it, pull out of NATO, and say, guys, you're all gone insane. We don't agree with what any of you guys are doing, and get the heck out. I'm not saying that Russia's doing is right either. Two wrongs don't make a right. Invading the country is not right, but it's not our business. That's what I'm saying. Why aren't we in helping the people in Africa when they slaughter each other wholesale with machetes? What's the difference? What's the difference? Oh, it's Ukraine, it's Europe. Well, so what? People are people. People are people. We're having Christians taken out wholesale in many parts of the world. Why don't we care more about that? It's our founding fathers told us not to get entangled with affairs of other countries, and we've done that. So, guys, I'm just having some issues with it. Free country for now. Well, yeah, for now. That may not last long. That's something else I need to talk about. I'm thinking I'm going to do some topics on that over on my Swivelhead News side. But I'm just, I'm not really pleased with this. We got a bigger challenge ahead of us, and that's China. And China's not giving us any choice. We're going to push it down our throat whether we like it or not, because China's trying to topple the United States, to be honest. And they got their hands around our jugular veins with, having our countries hacked to the extent that they have. And I've covered that in many videos. So I think we need to focus on China, hopefully not going to war. But we've got to be prepared in every way we can to keep them from doing what they would like to do to us if they can get away with it. So that's my 2 cents on it. And we need to refocus. And getting bogged down in Ukraine, getting bogged down in the Mideast isn't helping us. Even Iran's falling. Iran is dying. The Father in heaven is not putting any blessings on them. We're running out of water and everything else, and the people over there are not happy with the regime that runs the place. So I think it's just a matter of time that Iran falls anyway. However, we could find ourselves engaged over there again. We don't need it, to be honest. We should just pull out of. I think we ought to pull out of the Mideast and Europe, both, and just focus on the biggest threat the world faces, which is China. And they're the biggest threat to Europe, to us, and even Russia. And that's why being Russia's enemy forever isn't helping them to see that maybe they need to refocus a little bit too. So that's my 2 cents. And I'm hoping that we don't have to get in a war with anybody, to be honest. Wars are horrible. And, I think, if it wasn't for nations like China existing and having their designs they have, we'd all be better off if we didn't have any national governments. No international, especially, but not national. I think we need to get out of the UN. That's my 2 cents. That's just my 2 cents on it. Now, you may not agree with that. That's fine. I'm not asking you to agree with me, but just consider what I'm saying. If you don't like it, fine. But I'm just telling you where I stand on it. I think we're being nuts right now. Anyway, and I think our leadership, we got a lot of people in this country that want to engage us in war. We have war hawks on both sides and both parties. Lindsey Graham is a big war hawk. And I'm going to do a special video on this over on Swivelhead News. But W. Bush is planning to retake the Republican Party from the MAGA crowd. And Trump hasn't done a good job in holding things together. And I tell you, I don't trust him either. And that's why, because he's kind of let a lot of things slip. That's a whole nother topic, but we don't need the Bushes taking over again. I'll be honest. The Bushes are New World Order. They are, remember Papa Bush? Talking about the NWO. Remember his dad, Prescott Bush, financed the Germans. I won't say, we got to watch the NA word saying that on here. But just a lot of fishiness there, a lot of fishiness. You want Liz Cheney being the next president? I would hope not. I would hope not. But that's where they would like to take it more to the elitist area again. That's what we don't need. So we've got a lot to do and a lot to pay attention to at home here in this country, especially with all that stuff. But anyway, no Bushes. I like you, Colorado Jim. Thank you. Much love for that and for you for all the support that you provided. So, guys, this is we're in serious kimchi here. It is serious, and it's serious. The home front, what's going on the home front? It's serious what they're trying to do to us internationally. Even if the West prevails, and if you wind up in the House of Klaus, which is now being run by Larry Fink with Blackstone, that's no good either. So freedom is going to take a lot of diligence to maintain. And that's what I'm here for. Remember, I said many times, the proposition of this channel is to help you thrive, survive, and stay out of the hive. I need to do some special articles on the hive because they're really trying to bring it to us one way or another. So, yeah, that's what I'm talking about. And and I've said this before, and I'm going to make some more on this in the future. We're in a battle for our souls, for our spirits. It's more, and it's bigger than all this war stuff. It is bigger than all this war stuff. The conflict for your spirit, for your very soul. I'm going to do some more on that so you'll see where I'm coming from. We won't do that tonight. That's another topic entirely. But I may do that on Swivelhead News also. There's some topics I'm just going to put over there. European leaders draft fair alternative peace plan for Ukraine. Well, it ain't no good if Russia won't buy it. That's what I'm getting at here. Russia, if Russia's maybe pushed the point, they would sign off on something like it, but that don't like the case. See, here's the problem. Here's the real problem. When Ukraine first pushed back against Russia and took back a whole lot of territory, which they've lost since, Russia and Ukraine were sitting down the table negotiating a peace deal. And Boris Johnson of the UK went to Zelensky and said, don't do it. And Zelensky listened. There's been many lives lost, a lot of property destroyed, and Russia's gained back a big chunk of Ukraine since then. So Boris Johnson and Zelensky blew it then. They had a chance for peace on better terms for Ukraine they'll probably ever get without having lost all the lives that were lost on both sides. To me, Boris Johnson has got a lot of drippy red stuff on his hands, if you know what I'm talking about. I think that was awful. Maybe that's one of the reasons that Russia despises Britain today. They despise the United Kingdom. They have a special uh, case for despising these countries. I mean, they're threatening the United Kingdom all the time. So if you're in the United Kingdom, you need to pay attention to this. Of course, you got Keir Starmer wanting to put the digital ID, stamp it on your forehead, or put it in your palm of your hand. You know what that looks like, don't you? If we're not careful, we're going to have it here too. Anyway, so I'm just putting it out there. I mean, y'all don't have to agree with me, but we got friends in here in my channel that watch them in the United Kingdom. We got friends that watch them down under in Australia, New Zealand. People from France come in here. I've had people from Norway, Finland, different nations over there. So I'm not anti-European. Some people may think that's where I'm coming from. No, I like seeing Europe be free, and yeah, but Europe's got a big immigration problem. Europe's got some things they need to look into, or they're about to lose who they are. And I think y'all know that. So having Europe under the European community and the House of Klaus isn't serving the people there at all. It's serving the elites, and the elites are not serving the people. And those same elites want to run us too, and they're not going to serve us. And they're particularly interested in bringing America down because they see us as the last bastion to keep them from having their big 2030 dream of you'll have no privacy, you'll own nothing, you'll be happy because you're on whatever soma they're putting out. If you know what I'm talking about, that's the happiness pill from the Brave New World. Anyway, so Donald Trump is talking about some kind of U-turn here. Maybe he's willing to negotiate something further on this so-called peace plan. Uh, but at the same time, he's been saying, making some hints that, hey, he's not gave his final offer. That what he's put out there now, that 28-point plan is not his final offer. He's turned around and said that Zelensky can fight his little heart out. Zelensky is apparently refusing it. Europeans are apparently refusing, and even Putin. So U.S. tells NATO if Zelensky does not sign the peace plan, Ukraine will face a worse future. And I think that's a high probability, especially if the United States pulls out. Yeah, the new days, I think you're on to it right there. Europe could turn around, but it would be a lot harder than us trying to get drug cartels out of this country. I'll be honest. Think of all the resistance that's been put up just getting drug cartels out of all things. Of all things. All right, what is going on with these stupid ads? They won't let me show nothing. Because Trump says Ukraine will lose in a short period of time if it doesn't sign a peace deal. He knows what Putin's up to. Putin knows what Putin's up to. That's why Putin's not all that interested. That's why he's sticking tight on his terms. It's because Putin thinks he can take it. And in the war of attrition, he's got a lot deeper reserves to pull from than Ukraine does. But now here's another thing about Ukraine. Zelensky faces rebellion as the president of Ukraine. He's going under pressure. Why? Because people in his administration have taken something like $100 million to build their own little mansions and whatever else. We're foisting money over there, and they're putting it in their pockets and getting rich. Now, this has happened. This is something that's known. So, this is why Viktor Orban, the Prime Minister of Hungary, has come out and said, trying to, deal with Ukraine, trying to, is throwing more money at him is like trying to cure an alcoholic by giving him vodka. That's something I covered in my last video. I'm not getting many views on this channel. My views went down a lot recently, and I don't know why. If you guys can tell me if it maybe, I think it's the algorithms. They don't like what I'm saying. But if y'all don't like what I'm saying, tell me, because I'm not getting a lot of feedback. For some reason, my views have dropped like a rock on this channel. Outside, the last live video I did after the live, nobody watched it hardly. And I thought that was unusual. My morning crew didn't watch. Maybe it's because it was longer, so maybe we need to try to keep this short. Maybe I went to the chat too long. I don't know. But that video did not do well. And it was one of the kind of videos that normally does do well. So that kind of mystifies me is what's going on here. I don't understand it, to be honest. But anyway, if some of you got an understanding for that, tell me. But I do a lot of work on these videos. To see them fizzle out, really disappoints me when they fizzle out like that. Anyway, so now let's talk about Venezuela, because Trump just put out, there should have been another article on this before this one. No, something got messed up here. Anyway, this whole thing about this terrorism designation that they're putting on Maduro, that they're claiming that Monday, look, this guys, this whole war may kick off Monday. Monday deadline. Maybe that's how I should have led this whole thing, because what they're trying to do is designate the Cartel de los Souls, however you say that. What's that stand for? Lost Cartel of Lost Souls? I don't know what that is, how that translates to English. Looks like it though, don't it? Because what they say is the head of this cartel is Maduro. So if in Monday, this cartel gets officially categorized as a terrorist group. And what they're saying is that doing this gives more tools to our department to give options to the president, according to Secretary of War Pete Hegseth. So it allows U.S. expanded military options for striking Venezuela and Maduro himself. So it's beginning to smell a lot like a regime change, not Christmas. So there we are. And we're talking just a couple of days from now. We're talking Monday. Oh, I guess that's one day from now, because this is Sunday morning, right? So, like I said, the U.S. has basically essentially blockaded Venezuela already. Not officially, but there's interdicted ships, which is effectively a blockade. A blockade is considered an act of war. USS Stockdale blocked a Russian fuel tanker from delivering fuel to Venezuela. Venezuela's got all that crude, but they don't have the refineries. So U.S. warship cuts path, tanker heading to Venezuela. Bloomberg don't like me. And we've issued these NOTAMs saying, hey, don't be flying over the Caribbean Sea and Venezuela. We've issued some big NOTAMs, notice to airmen. Due to deteriorating security situation, like maybe we're about to attack. Several international airlines canceled their flights from Venezuela after U.S. warning. Yeah, that's a real warning. And considering everything, Monday may be the go day. Maybe that should have been the whole title of this. Monday, go day. Maybe I'll do another video tomorrow on that or something. But anyway, yeah, and this is more of it. U.S. launch new phase of operations include overthrowing Maduro, according to the report. So, y'all think that's what's going to happen? What happened here? Close this. Now, just talking about the gravity of war. What have we spent totally on military expenditures and related security matters to war worldwide since, I believe, 2008 is the thing. $19 trillion worldwide. $19 trillion on war. You think this could have been spent better somehow? Does all these countries really, do the people really benefit from all this warfare? Have the Gazans benefited? Have the Palestinians, have the Israelis truly benefited? Have the Syrians truly benefited? All these countries have been at war for all this time. Have the people benefited from this? Somebody did, but it sure wasn't the people anywhere. The people are living in misery. Yet somebody, when you spend this kind of money, it goes in somebody's pockets, don't it? But it's not in pockets in a means that could help this world. You see what I'm saying? What better ways could we spend this money? How about we build dry land or something, build a seastead and maybe off the coast of Israel, and allow the Gazans to have some of that. Palestinians. Hey, here's you some property. How about there's many options. Space development. Uh, we could build almost 2 trillion Bernal spheres, over 35,400 times the surface area of Earth out there if we start working. Why are we fighting over this place down here? Why are we fighting over these breadcrumbs and putting our entire existence at risk? It's nuts. It's nuts. Well, like I said, if somebody is trying to wrong ship, hey Rodney, how you doing from down there? If somebody is trying to take you, somebody is trying to take you out, yeah, you got to defend yourselves. But we've allowed ourselves to be wide open for a long time. Europe's allowed itself to be wide open for a long time, and we're paying a price for it. And it was done intentionally because a certain crowd of elites wanted to get rid of nations for globalism. That's what it boils down to. The House of Klaus, they don't, and they don't like the United States. I'll be honest. They don't like any free, independent country because they want you to give up everything. So we got enemies, foreign and domestic. And I'm thinking the domestic ones may be the worst case. And knock, knock. Hello, Elon. You've been a little too friendly to China. How's China repaid you for that? They're simulating taking out your Starlink satellite network. How about that, Elon? Knock, knock, knock. Wake up, Elon. You need to not be so cozied up to the Chinese. They're not your friends, Elon. Of course, if they take out Starlink, that's my link for working remotely and talking to you guys. That would really cause me a problem. So, yeah, this is, the Chinese are looking, like I said, take out all our critical infrastructure in so many different ways. It's not funny. Just an EMP would take us to our knees. But they're really looking at taking out all our military command and control, like our ability to command our weapon systems. What about our nuke plants? You know what an E1 would do to all the controls in your nuke plant? Imagine something, the first thing that happens is everything goes dark in the nuke plant. All the controls, all the switches, and you got to use flashlights. You got to remember all the manuals for how to do things and operate things, all the schematics are on the computers. If it all gets fried, what are you going to do in those nuke plants, huh? What are you going to do? How are you going to deal with that? When you got minutes to make decisions and you got no access to anything. It's called cook-off. Theoretically, they can, scram a nuclear reactor with boron, but it might be hard to do in a situation like that, especially when you're running around with flashlights trying to figure out what's going on. Not a pretty situation. An EMP attack on this country would be so catastrophic. Most people have not wrapped their noodles around. I've been warning about that for a long time. You want to take America down, that would do it. But they've got so many, they got us hacked in so many other ways. Mm-mm-mm. Well, China is now trying to get the UN to go after Japan because they've talked about defending Taiwan and they're threatening armed intervention over Taiwan. Well, only if Taiwan's attacked with an armed intervention from mainland China. Because they understand the loss of Taiwan would lead to their demise ultimately. They're waking up over there. But so what China's not saying is, oh yeah, well we're going to attack first, but we got the right to do it, and nobody's got the right to defend themselves. That's China's stand. Unfortunately, they bought off so many countries. Their sway in the UN is growing. Ours is waning. So I said, well, just get out of the UN. UN is not serving us. And U.S. Marines are on an outpost just 70 miles from Taiwan. It's on Japanese island. So they're talking about this island, Yongaguni, however you say that. That's one of Japan's furthest outland islands, just 70 miles from Taiwan. We might be gearing up for a war there. What do y'all think? We might just be gearing up for a war there. Uh, in any event, now here's a crazy one. China is building an 80,000 ton nuclear proof floating facility that turns blast shocks into light impact. So I don't know, they're showing a regular oil rig there. That's not what it is. It's a big ship that's going to be like a floating bunker. I've seen a depiction of it somewhere. None of these are depicting it. That's really aquaculture, and that's an oil rig. That neither of these pictures depict what they're trying to do there. I've seen a picture of it somewhere. It's not in this article though. Yes. So maybe that's how the elite in China plan to escape, in case of war. Hmm. All those ghost cities they built in Western China, those are all upwind from the fallout in case there's a nuclear war, in case they get some of their cities taken out. And this article is basically the department. It's not really about Korea launching a blackout bomb, although they seem to have some other EMP technologies besides just a super MP weapon. This is about our Defense Department trying to figure out how to deal with EMP attacks. At least they're doing it. That's good. They got a long way to go. So, the title of that article was misleading. Now we just look at some of our domestic stuff. Senior, who saved himself from a would-be mugger, is heading to prison because of New York City's draconian bang bang laws. You defended yourself. You got to go to jail for 4 years. And this old guy defended himself, saved his life, and now they're sending him to prison. They're sending him to prison. I saw an article somewhere. I can't find it now. I saw an article somewhere that talked about how some drug cartel members. What do the drug cartels do? They traffic people, drugs, people. Wind up pushing daisies over what they do. What's trafficking people? It's slavery. But with certain people on a certain spectrum of the political side of things, must think that's okay. And they've got whole regions of the country apparently hypnotized the idea that that's all just fine because these drug cartel members claim they were treated rough by the police. And they sued, and a jury awarded them millions of dollars. My friends, and we're 24 years after 9/11, 25 years after 9/11. Look who's just become the mayor of New York City. And it's going the capital of capitalism is going socialist. Guys, I would not want to live in New York City or anywhere on the left coast. If you live there, or even in cities like Memphis, Chicago, because they're all subject to tsunamis. And I'm beginning to think, I think God is a tolerant God. I don't think he's as judgmental as a lot of people think. But these areas may be ripe for some kind of judgment. So when you look at the Cascadia subduction zone, when you look at the San Andreas Fault, when you look at Mount Rainier, the whole left coast could go splish splash and then have a bit major volcanic eruptions. And Lord knows, guys, you need to think about where you're living. I always tell you, if you're in a big city, get out. It could be worse. Here's Chicago. Revolving door. This guy here had 72 prior arrests. And what he did, he poured gasoline on some innocent passenger and torched her. Some woman. Well, these guys attacking women on trains. What the heck is that? I think it's demonic. But this guy had been arrested 72 times. 72 times. Catch and release. Catch and release. Oh, bad boy. Be good. Bye-bye. Go out and do whatever you want. And then they got these cities want to do no cash bonds, no bail bonds. Just let them go. Let them go. What do you think the law enforcement feels? They hate that. They hate having to risk their lives, capture these thugs, and then they just be turned immediately back in the streets. And what they do, they keep doing this kind of stuff. Most of the most heinous attacks in our country have come from repeat offenders over and 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 over. I'm not going to show the pictures that going down. Those YouTube would probably shut me down if I show any kind of things like what he did. Guys, can you believe it? Can you believe this? This is what I'm saying. Chicago is going to be in the judgment. It could be New Madrid activity. Do you live? I got friends that live in Memphis. Some of the people who watch my channel. You might want to rethink where you're at, guys. Now, here's the funny thing. Scientists discovered that people act way better when Batman is present. They put a guy dressed as Batman on one of these trains, and now suddenly people start standing up to let the pregnant lady have a seat. They're helping the elderly. And some people said they didn't even notice him. So it's subconscious. Is that funny? Is that weird? What is that? Put a Batman in a train and people just act better. Interesting. It's just something that's, out of the ordinary. If it became ordinary, it might not work. But, isn't that interesting? That's kind of the humor side of all this. I do like to throw in a little humor when I can. But, well, Antifa, I think maybe classifying them as a T group might have been proper because they had a plan to attack an ICE facility, and several of them got arrested over it. So I'm glad that they got flushed out and arrested. But, multiple suspects. But, they actually fired on some ICE people, and some people were injured. So, guys, we're in a civil war right now of sorts. So, and other things I always warn you guys about, other stuff here. EPA approves second forever chemical and pesticides in 2 weeks. And I warn you guys that these forever chemicals cause all kinds of cancers and stuff. And that's what I tell you guys. You need to be growing your own food. I've been warning you about that for some time. Remember, I showed this article earlier. California farms applying millions of pounds of PFAS to key crops. And this stuff, guys, causes cancers and all kind of organ failure. And they just do it. So, if you can grow your own food, do it. I got my links for True Leaf Market. I'll put in the notes below. New Days may share some of that with y'all here. But True Leaf Market and Eden Brothers are places you can go where you can get non-GMO seeds, heirloom seeds. You plant a plant, grow it, and harvest it and save the seeds and get the same plant again. Heirlooms, hybrid plants might give you some pretty fruits, but you can't get the same thing back by replanting seeds. What you'll get is what we call tears. Some little funny, funky fruit. Anyway, guys, it's a good time to buy seeds. If we get attacked and the grid goes down, you ain't buying them like that anymore. So, and in the world of robots, we got a robot that just moved 100,000 totes. In fact, 100,000 totes. What about that, guys? 100,000 totes. I think we may have a labor shortage when trying to reindustrialize the United States, but robotics will probably help us out. But here's what scares me. This one is, to me, kind of frightening. Drone maker lets robot fly drone to prove it's easy to use and scare the heck out of us. Guys, does robots flying drones worry you? If it does, put a 4 in the chat room. If you think that's all hunky-dory, put a 3 in the chat room. Robots flying drones. Holy guac and smoke-a-moly. It's bad enough the robot's a robot and the drone's what they can do, but a robot flying a drone? Whew. That is really weird. That's a little worrisome. And then China's got a robot that walked 65 miles nonstop. 65 miles. Can you do that? This thing might chase you down. You might outrun it for a short burst, but it just keeps coming. Keeps coming. And soon they'll be running fast too. China's Agibot A2 went 65 miles, 106 kilometers for my friends down under, Rodney. Well, he said he didn't get to go to dinner. Guys, holy guac and smoke-a-mole. I've done some videos talking about the military potential of what China could do with robots. Yikes. Wake up, guys. Talk about waking up and talking about judgment. How about this 700,000 year volcano? Been dormant for 700,000 years. I guess that says no volcano is safe. 700,000 years. Well, this awakened. It's in Iran. I'm telling you guys, I think Iran's under judgment. Why else is Tehran, the capital of Iran, run out of water? Iran's president says relocating the capital is unavoidable. Apparently, they're already doing it. That's a funny. That's what Iran. That is a funny piece of artwork there. Yikes, guys. I think they're under judgment. Talking about judgment, let's have a look at earthquakes. Well, we got a new one right here, fresh. 5.5 at Adak, Alaska. That's where we fought a 1,000-mile war against Japan, World War II. Only American soil that got invaded in World War II. 2 islands there in the Aleutian chain, which we did take back. And Petrolia, however you say that, California, right here where this fault comes to a neck down here. There's earthquakes there all the time. The San Juan, San de Fuca, what are you? Juan de Fuca fault, I can't even think right now. This is the Fuca fault. Now, if we come out here at the bigger picture, oh, we got something big over here in the 5.1 in Costa Rica. Another one next to it. A lot of stuff over here in Indonesia and Philippines. This is the Philippines, right? No, it's Indonesia. This is the ones in the Philippines right here. Yeah, a lot of earthquakes up in here. Papua New Guinea. Oh, this is getting closer to Australia. Timor over here, north of New Zealand and Tonga. That's an active region. A lot of earthquakes. Not so much on the San Andreas right now, but we've been seeing a lot there in the past. Now, Puerto Ricans must be sleeping tonight. Saturday night, why ain't they partying? They're usually dancing, causing a lot of earthquakes over there. That's what I accuse them of anyway. Anyway, my friends. So if you want to see 3-eye Atlas, get up early in the morning and look in the constellation Virgo with a good telescope. And it's anyway, the sun on our side is not too active right now, but they say it's really kicking up a storm on the other side. 3-eye Atlas, they got a good color photo of it now with straight jets, which is kind of odd. Those jets and planes are a lot bigger than they should be. I need to do another video talking about that over on Galactic Grid. So a lot longer than what they should be. They didn't tell you that in the NASA news conference. And they showed pictures of it right before it went to perihelion with very little tail. Then after it's got a ginormous tail. How did that happen? We can talk about that on Galactic Grids. Again, I've been planning to do a video on that for the past few days. I've just been too tied up. All righty. Nothing ahead of us looking threatening. There's always stuff in the past we find. They always zip by us. Oh, we found one. Oops, here's a new one. But there's no known immediate threats from asteroids. Okay, guys? That's the good news. And the solar activity is down for right now, but it could come back up. We do have coronal holes facing us that can kick up a little charge, a lot of solar wind coming out of the sun from those. You can see there is aurora activity over Alaska, but it's not super heavy. Anyway, my friends, that's the news portion for the people that watch me in the morning. So I am going to do a quick gander through the chat room here. Try to do it a little fast here. I'm going to use them on the computer here, if it's got everything in here. And Zenjamin, hey family. I'm going to check to see if anybody's in the house that might be sending me donations through my website. change email. Oh, nothing yet. So I'm just going to glance real quick I'm going to try to make this quick because these long videos are really detrimental to people to watch in the morning. So anybody gets a super chat gets priorities on chat watches now. That worries me for our aircraft carriers and ships. Linda Moses, I agree. Howdy New Days, Rodney. Colorado Jan. Colorado Jan's a big supporter. Let's see. She has a question. Let's see. All five brothers are on the same ship. Oh. Copper, silver, platinum. There you go, Armitage. Thank you for sharing the links, New Days. And Gratitude Globe, War I could have been prevented 3 weeks before it started if the English king had been honest to the Kaiser king when asked would England go to war if we entered Belgium. You know what? A lot of wars could have been prevented. Okay, Rodney. I didn't mean to be going off on you. I didn't notice that was you that said that. But anyway, yeah, it is more slanted to Putin. I agree. But Putin, you got to get Putin to agree to. You got to have a plan he's going to agree to. Or otherwise, he's liable to take more. He thinks he can win. Says, I think we need to stay with the U.S. Constitution. We got so far away from it. Amen to that. Is Trump out of debt yet? Wizard, probably not. Yes, need no strict adherence to the Constitution. The Cherokee Indians would say, I told you so. Yeah. We fought England for taxes, taxing us unfairly. Yeah, I know where we're at today. Hey, Putin is a scumbag. I agree. Did you come back in the house, Rodney? Maybe you're not hearing me. I know you said something about leaving for dinner, I think. But I think most of the world leaders are scumbags. Wonder if they have cheap flights to Venezuela for Christmas. I wouldn't want to go. Anna. Support this channel and good job. Well, thank you there, Gary. Yeah, the USS Gerald Ford is 300 kilometers off Venezuela coast, but it wasn't the one that interdicted. It was I don't think, the aircraft carrier is not going to be running interdictions. It'll be the smaller ships. Does any other country like us? Heck, a lot of us don't like us. We shouldn't be in the popularity contest from Halls of Montes. Yeah. Yeah, well, we did get involved with some wars, but the founding fathers told us they didn't want us involved in the treaties. That was the biggest thing. And you guys get up there. I haven't went to bed yet. I just finished a small chisel grinding knife, no longer than 180 millimeters for a guy who lives in New York. Apparently, they have strict knife laws. Yeah, they do. Superman was a newspaper reporter. Yeah, well, back in the 30s when he was a reporter, people respected the news, right? Dinner bell ringing. Okay, Rodney. I hope you've come back and caught my replies here since. Oh, my fellas, Insomaniacs. Hey, we don't have Arnold in the house, do we? How's the worms? The worms are doing good. Captain Kabooms. The new worms live in Arizona. Yep, so far, as long as I can keep water on them. It's been raining here for the past few days. I mean, I've seen more moisture in the soil than I've ever seen. I thought those grocery prices going down. No. Thank you. The news is feeling like I was invisible. Hey, Trippy. You're not invisible. Trippy King Cultivation. Nope, you're not invisible. 484. What is that? I got a 454 in my Chevrolet truck. Alrighty, guys. I think we need to go. We've been on here for an hour now. So I think it's time to call it a night. We need to keep these videos a little bit shorter. I think it will help with our morning watchers. If anybody's got any ideas why I've been getting so much less views, you can tell me, post it in the comments after I post a video. But do go in and make a comment in there that helps with algorithms. I need some serious help with algorithms. I think it's really the platform. I think they're really picking on me. I noticed that some channels like Steve Popper, he don't name countries. He talks about bear country and dragon country. And maybe I need to adopt his language because he gets a lot more views than I do. I think it may have something to do with it. Anyway, maybe I need to watch my language more. Anyway, guys, with that, I'm going to say we're going to call it a night here. Right on the way it should be. Hey, I'm just warning you guys, we're maybe on the verge of war. There are potential sleeper cells in this country. Mike Flynn has been warning us of multi-city attacks from sleeper cells in the next 30 to 90 days. Anything like this might trigger them. A lot of these, we do know that we have a lot of Venezuelan gangs in this country. Are they going to attack? I don't know, but don't be surprised. Don't be surprised. Things could get ugly in a hurry. That's why y'all need to prep. This is why you need to keep your eyes wide open and head on a swivel. You need to pay attention wherever you go. Have situational awareness. Don't be sitting on a bus or a train, so into your phone you don't know when somebody's coming up from behind with a sharp, shiny object or a gallon of gasoline. You just don't know. Most of these people that have been taken like that were unaware of what's going on around. YouTube. Yeah, you may be right, Captain Kabooms. That's kind of what I'm thinking. So that's why I need you guys to help share my videos, help me with algorithms, make some comments. Give me some thumbs up, people. Give me some thumbs up. I'm gonna do a refresh so I don't see how many thumbs up we got because I only got 69 in the house. I'm just right now watching. It's pretty low. Pretty low. I only got 54 thumbs up. Come on, guys, help me out with the thumbs up. If you're not giving me a thumbs up, please do. And if you don't like what I'm doing, tell me why. I need some feedback. But, I'm telling y'all what I think. And, I'm being honest about it. So, but I also tell you why I think it. Now, here, I believe in open discourse. You might can convince me otherwise. That's why I say we need freedom of speech. I believe in free and open dialogue. Some people in this country don't want free, open dialogue because look what happened to Charlie Kirk. He just went around campuses and was trying to talk to people, have an open dialogue. But some people want to take that out, which is horrible. Thank you, Colorado Jan. 85,000 Somali pirates. Yikes. Yep. Well, look at Dearborn, Michigan. What do you got up there? Wow. Well, at least we're not like France or the United Kingdom in that regard. If I was in those countries, I would seriously be worried. But guys, things could turn ugly in a hurry. That's what I keep warning you guys about. I just want you guys to be prepared, to be aware, situation aware wherever you go. YouTube banned you. Was Boondock. Uh-oh. Yeah, I got to worry about what I say because they've shut a lot of channels down recently. A lot of channels. Anyway, my friends. Yeah, I remember you coming in as Boondock. Yikes. Mm-mm-mm. We got to be careful on here. That's right, New Days. They don't allow freedom of speech. They sure don't. And that's where a lot of people are trying to take us, unfortunately. Sorry. I want to thank everyone for watching. You're what builds me. I hope, hey, maybe you ought to just watch it, turn it on, let it play in the morning. Because more people watch it, the more the algorithm will promote it. Something happened in my last live. It's like, after the live session, nobody watched it. That's all I had was the people that watched in the live session. So help me out with that, guys. We just got a couple of new watchers coming in. If you just join us, catch it on rewind. We're wrapping up here. We've been on for 65 minutes. Broken Air was called unofficially early in 2023. Even Snowflake, Arizona is under threat. Uh-oh. Hey, Anton, how you doing? Hadn't seen you in a while, Anton. All right, so yeah. Well, a lot of people around here are aware. Per capita, we got a lot of preppers around here. A lot more than most places. Anyway, folks, I want to thank everybody for watching. Mods, thank you for keeping the channel clean. And I'm going to say to one and all, wherever you are, a good night, a good day. I said it back. A good night, a good day to everyone, to all. How's that term go out of Not Before Christmas? That's supposed to be the Not Before Christmas. Anyway, and we're getting close to Thanksgiving and Christmas here. The holiday seasons are upon us. So, been busy. Okay. So I just want to say to everyone, have a good night, good day, wherever you are, to one and all. And with that, I'm going to say, in honor of Granny Lana, she always loved it when I would say this, ho, ho, ho.